All right, race fans, we are back. How about that? Consecutive weeks of the One to Go show. It's been a few months since we've done that, so glad to be back as always. Ryan Aho here, and we got we got the historian of Eastern Wisconsin racing, one of them. There's a few over there that are pretty good at it. Former editor of the Full Throttle magazine. We got Bert Lehman in the house. And of course, we have former pure stock track champion up at the Proctor Speedway, multi-time crew chief of a national championship with Soda Team. We got Changa in the house. How you boys doing tonight?
Wonderful.
Doing all right.
All right. Bert's a little under the weather, so bear with him. He's a trooper. So thanks, Bert, for coming on. I know you're not feeling well, kind of battling a few things there, but appreciate you coming on. And Changa, we got Bert's got Packers stuff this week, and they got the draft in Green Bay, and we're thinking about maybe going to a draft party. But our statistician Bert, so I don't know if you caught this or not. You noticed last week we had Uper on the show base or on our text feed saying, "Hey, I'm excited. I'm getting rooms at Green Bay. I'm going to the draft. Right? I got tickets from my boss. Remember that?"
Yeah.
Well, he booked the hotel, and I'm like, well, where are your tickets? I'm curious. Like, where do you sit, stand? I've never been to a NFL draft before. So he starts looking at the tickets, and you're familiar. You've been to Lambeau. So the gate he has to go in is the Legacy Gate at Lambeau. Do you know where the Legacy Gate is at Lambeau?
No.
It's at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. The tickets that he had were actually for the Minnesota Vikings draft party, not for the NFL draft. So it's a dang good thing, right? That he got the hotels booked, was able to cancel that. But imagine if you had to book flights, or if you would have just shown up there and been like, well, I got the tickets right here. They would have been like, sorry there, guy. That's probably not going to get you in here. But let's just say he was a little disappointed in that, but saved by actually looking at the tickets. But yeah, kind of a bummer. I thought that was pretty good humor. But NFL Draft Week, pretty excited about that. I know it's a racing show, but national holiday. We're doing the show. It is Wednesday right now. Should post on Thursday, I'm assuming. NFL Draft, I guess, tonight if you're watching it today. Pretty excited about that. But let's get into some racing. Episode number 256 of the One to Go show here. And before we get into anything, a quick shout out, Impact Health Sharing. So if you're in the market for health insurance, if you pay for your own, if you have a family, if you're a couple, single, doesn't matter. If you're a business owner, if you have employees, self-employed, at the end of the day, if you pay for your own health insurance and you're like, man, I am just spending, good Lord, I'm going to send mom to voicemail. I thought I had it on Do Not Disturb, boys, but I apparently do not. So if you're in the market for health insurance, you pay for your own and you're like, I pay too much, I'm sick of paying too much, high deductibles, sick of going to specific doctors, I might have a solution for you. It's called Impact Health Sharing. It's been absolutely fantastic throughout the country. You can go to any doctor that you want. There's no specific network, so you can go any provider, which is great. Very affordable deductibles. It's been absolutely fantastic. Let me know. I can get you a quick, no obligation quote, get you the information you need to see if you can save a lot of money in that area of your life, to spend more money on fun stuff like race car driving and race cars and racing stuff and cool kid stuff like that. So that's Impact Health Sharing. My number, 218-969-1380. You can text me, call me, message me on Facebook, whatever you got to do, get a hold of me. I'll see if I can help you out. So, all right, boys, a little bit. So we're sponsoring, we've got a couple One to Go show cars out there. We got Blake Adams out there, and of course, my boy, Dave Dalsiak, he got his season started. I was going to go to Kankakee with them on Friday. They end up raining out, and they make the decision on Saturday to go to Peoria. So we'll start there. He's never been to Peoria, small little track, and had a pretty good night. Not bad, just outside the top 5. He got 6th. Watching it, the car looked good, rotated good, handled good. He has the little motor in. No, Bert, these street stocks down in UMP land, we're talking 421s, right? We're talking full-blown modified engines with 2-barrel carburetors, right? So he's got his little motor in right now, and he still ran well, But I think for myself, and Changa can relate. He raced with me. I was the guy at the beginning of the year. It took me a couple, 2, 3, 4 nights to kind of get rolling. I was not Scott Dan Zeeson that literally could like not race a car, or AJ Demo that could not race a car, and then like 2 months later just hop in and is like, holy shit, they're in the top 3 battling for a win. That was not me. I needed a little bit of routine. So to go out there, not have any issues, I'm pretty happy. Solid 6 to start the season, and that's something to kind of build on. And he's going to be racing a lot more UMP stuff, so going to be keeping an eye on that. The One to Go Show 83 car, Dave Delciak down in Illinois, and then of course we sponsored Blake Adams, and my phone blows up. And everybody's asking me, oh, Blake got disqualified. Oh, Blake's cheating. Blake got disqualified. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes, what happened? Right. So I text Buzzer. I'm like, Buzzy, DQ, like, what happened here? We got a new sponsor, Dairy Queen. DQ gift certificates for getting here. So, well, in the heat race in the modified, right rear tire goes down, decides to exit during green off the back straightaway in the wall. And they got a big wall opening in the middle of the back straightaway. We'll get into that in a minute. Takes a right, and they have a clear rule at Ogilvy, and it's a good rule. It's a good rule. I mean, it's a hard right-hand turn. Bert, you've been to Menominee, similar deal. You pull off the back straightaway there, not really the safest deal. They talk about it at the pit meeting. He got DQ'd, which, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it didn't matter. He's DNFing anyway, right? So you're going to either DNF, DQ the heat, doesn't matter. Going to start in back of the feature or whatever, not a big deal. And then in the B mod, he bent a valve. And they caught it right away. They didn't wreck a bunch of stuff. A bent valve can turn into a broken valve, can turn into a really, really expensive night. And they found it right away and shut the night down. And they went and had walking tacos up in the grandstands and enjoyed some racing in Ogilvy and went home at the end of the day. So not a good start there in the WISSOTA season for Blake Adams. But, hey, get that shit out of the way right away. Let's roll into some good luck here. We got multiple races. I know they got 3 nights of action this weekend. Sounds like he's going to head to Menominee, Rice Lake, and then over to the Granite City Motor Park on Sunday. So 3 nights of racing. We'll keep an eye on Blake. Good luck to him. So your thoughts on the wall opening deal? So speaking of that, we got a sprint car there was a bad deal. We'll get into that in a second, but I had a few people say, well, he did it to himself. I mean, he should have known better. Well, yeah, I mean, technically, but at the end of the day, who gives a shit, right? I mean, you're not finishing the race anyway, so you ain't out nothing. He's not racing Ogilvy for points. That's a good rule, ain't it? Right? I mean, you can't be, what do you guys think? I mean, that's probably a good rule on Ogilvy's part. You can't exit. That's pretty safety deal there, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, sure. I agree. I mean, I agree. And, it is the driver's responsibility to know what the rules are. So, it is on him to know that. But I agree with the safety deal. When Outagamie Speedway in Seymour, when they got rid of the tri-oval and made it a true oval, they had the exit in the middle of the backstretch like that. And opening night, I was there for opening night, and a car tried to exit the track there during the race. Another car hit it and rolled over. And it was a few weeks later. Well, I don't know if it was a few weeks later or the next season, the exit was coming out of turn 2 rather than in the middle of the backstretch.
Hey, that's good on them. They moved it. Every time we talk wall openings, I gotta give a tip of the cap. Mississippi Thunder Speedway, they had one of the scariest wall openings. Just watching it, the drivers were like literally looked like they were going to die every time they entered turn 1, and they realized they had to change that. They moved it, and they're just ahead of the game. So tracks that are kind of realizing that, that's a tip of the cap, because guys, it's 2025. I mean, these wall openings, I mean, I don't even understand why they're a thing, right? And it's one thing, right? Is some tracks it's easy to kind of move the wall opening, right? Superior did that. Changa, you remember? Bobby Obermuller tumbled down the front straightaway there, or went through the fence and hit a motorhome through the wall opening. Pat Strumble in a super stock went straight off of turn 1 in Superior through the opening, right? Through the pits out onto the frickin' highway on Tower Avenue. drove back in the super stock that way. So they realized that it's probably not safe. And that one was just off of turn one, but they moved it over to turn two, and it's just a safer deal. And if you can't change the wall opening, why not do what they do? Doesn't Eldora have a gate? They have a gate, right? You know, I know East Bay had a gate, you know, so I get it. It's a little cost effective, but I tell you what, I will, if you put together any racetrack out there that's like, you know what, hey, I want to get rid of the wall opening, but it's going to cost a little bit. I will help you raise funds, right? I'm putting the hat in the ring. I will help you raise funds to pay for getting rid of that and changing it. I'll throw in the first $100, any track that wants to do that myself, because it's a safety deal. And it's, you know, you can put a gate in there. There's things you could do. So, Changa, you saw this, right? You kind of pointed this out, sprint car deal. Williams Grove, I don't know if it was this past weekend or the weekend before, but I saw it here over the past few days on social media. So Cale Thomas was driving the Shark Racing 1A, vacated by Jacob Allen, right? Bobby Allen owns a team, Jacob Allen running the team. Cale Thomas racing that car. 3 nights of racing, they get in, crash 2 of the last 3, right? Well, he's running pretty good. I think he was up kind of around that 5th spot. Right rear tire clips the barrels on the wall opening at Williams Grove. All hell breaks loose, tumbles the car, starts on fire. Wow, that was a near miss. That could have been a very, very ugly deal. Danny Dietrich stops, pulls him out of the car. And your thoughts on that whole deal? When you see that wall, I mean, you raced, you've been around racing your whole life. When you see these wall opening instances, you know, things that happen, what goes through your mind?
Well, it's scary because they're ultimately when they're 100-0 accidents typically hit the end of a wall, you're at a large chance that you're going to have a big major injury and absolutely destroy a car. And I guess years ago I didn't even pay as much attention to the safety aspect of it. I was just there to win races and never even thought about it. And I guess that's kind of the way a lot of race car drivers are. I mean, I think if I remember right, up at North Central Speedway, they kind of got a wall opening there, like right at the end of their front stretch grandstands. But I think they put a gate in there too after a bad wreck or something, didn't they?
Yeah, they put a gate in there, and I think a car might have went right over the top of that. I was there. That was a mod tour race and a mod 4 incident, and that was a really, really bad deal. I don't remember. It's a long time ago. There might have even been a fatality in that deal, or
I think it was,
a near fatality. The promoter really got hurt. He suffered some brain damage in that deal. I mean, it was a horrible, horrible deal, and happened. I mean, my daughter, my uncle, they were sitting there right in front of the grandstands. It happened right in front of them. But I mean, things happen fast. I mean, they do, and it's one thing to have people standing on the edge, but the wall opening, you're running on the ragged edge on these cars, right? You're right. A lot of times you're right on the fence and you're trying to hit every last little bit of traction you can. And how many times we see races, they're scraping the wall with the right rear, sparks are flying, right? And that wall opening's there, it sucks you right in. And I mean, you destroy a race car, that's one thing, but man, oh man, I mean, at some point, somebody's going to get hurt really bad, possibly die from these wall openings. So, man, they got to go. I mean, all these tracks, we've heard people get DQ'd for safety stuff, right? Oh, this person didn't have I think it was Bristol, didn't have driver's gloves on, disqualified, right? You hear all this different stuff, safety stuff, safety stuff. Well, if you're a racetrack that has a wall opening like this, and you know what tracks they are, we don't need to throw a bunch under the bus. But if you're a racetrack that has a wall opening that you know what you got, you can't really be talking to drivers and enforcing safety infractions when you still have a wall opening that is massively unsafe. You got to do something about it, in my opinion. But another thing is he got fired. Cale Thomas, after that wreck, he got fired. I mean, 3 races in. So Jacob Allen last year, he was a good runner. And last year he kind of quit halfway through the season, and then he comes back and then he quits. And I don't know if he's battling I don't know if he's got inner demons going on. I have no idea what's going on, but he just decided, I'm done. I'm going to step away. I'm going to get into the management side. And this Cale Thomas gets in 3 nights in, and you're out. That was kind of weird, wasn't it?
I think so. I mean, and actually, it was a bad deal that he wrecked out twice because he was running up near the top 5 all 3 nights, and then wrecked out 2 of them.
And then they replaced him. So Bert, I don't know if you saw the news. They replaced him. You might have even posted that in our group chat. Ashton Torgerson. Now, Bert, are you familiar with that name? You didn't? Okay. Are you familiar with that name, Ashton Torgerson?
I am not.
Do you remember a couple years back at the Chili Bowl, the 16-year-old kid that literally was like flew out of his car and like Superman?
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's him. Same driver.
Okay.
I think he's from Oregon. That was a scary deal too. I don't exactly remember what happened, but he literally flew out of his car. He's going to be hopping in. I think he's 18, 19 years old now and going to be driving the 1A. So it'll be interesting to see. Kids got balls. You get back in a car after something like that, you're probably pretty fearless. I mean, that right there would scare the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie. You fly out of a race car, you're kind of dangling there. Probably going to make me a little nervous, but you guys, have you ever seen a fire deal? So that car started on fire, not a massive fire, but a fire's a fire, right? Have you ever been at a racetrack when there was a fire deal, anything like that? I mean, I think that's got to be one of the most scary things in a race car is fire.
Yeah, I've talked about this on the show before. I actually thought when it was happening, I actually thought I was going to witness a driver die on the track because it was in the limited late model feature at Shawano Speedway, and cars got together. And anyway, David Fieber's car had its wheels up on the fence, and there's a car wedged underneath them. So the driver's window was blocked. He couldn't get out that window, and the car started on fire because the stopper on the fuel cell, either he didn't have one or what, it didn't work, and there was fuel spilling all over the place, and it was engulfed in flames. And same type of deal with what happened this past week. Jeff Curtin, of driver who was racing in that race, got out of his car, went to the passenger side of the car and pulled him out through there. Good thing David Fever was kind of a skinny guy that he was able to fit through there.
Yeah, no kidding. I would have they'd have a hard time pulling me out now. I probably should work on that a little bit, but some of these cars are getting tight. And let's face it, the cars are getting tighter and tighter and tighter with the high deck tins, the halo bars, and all this different stuff, full containment seats, Hans device. They're not easy to get in and out of. And I'm telling you, like I am very, very concerned about fire and the escapability of these race cars. I mean, I'm a bigger guy, but I'm still only 5'9", right? I'm not like AJ Demo 6'3", 6'4", 300 some pounds. I'm not that. You get a guy like that trapped in that situation, it could be a really, really bad deal. And with that said, that's why AJ and the folks at MB, they decided to raise the roll cages and stuff on the new MB mods to give them some more escapability to get out of these cars. They recognize that little bit of an issue here. We got to start looking at this safety aspect. So they're one of the first manufacturers out there to really take a good look at that. So kind of hats off to the folks at MB Customs. Changa, how about you? Anything come to mind of fire? I mean, have you had to witness anything like that?
I've seen a few of them happen. I remember one, and I don't even remember who or a lot of the details, but it's either a modified or a late model at Superior on the front stretch where they rolled over, and it was a methanol fire. So all I remember is the driver getting out and rolling around on the ground, and you couldn't even see the flames.
Yeah, and that's what happened up in Thunder Bay. That was a methanol fire. Of course, we all know Dennis Jones. Dennis Jones got upside down and modified up there, and Don Kettering, the late Don Kettering, missed that guy. He was a heck of a lot of fun. Don Kettering jumped out of his car, and I think Dennis was unconscious, or I think he was unconscious, but Dennis got pulled out of the car by Don Kettering up there, And I was up there to witness that deal. Scary as hell. I mean, everybody was panic stricken, and man, you just don't know. So yeah, so between wall openings, fire safety, racing's a tough deal. It's not the safest sport out there, right? So we got to do what we can to protect ourselves, protect the drivers, and it starts with racetracks. Get rid of these stupid wall openings, please. It's not that difficult of a deal. We spend money in a lot of crazy areas. Wall openings got to go to 2025. So a little shout out here, Fast Lane Motorsports and Powder Coating up in Ashland, Wisconsin, home of the Galloper chassis. So Chris, of course, the owner of Fast Lane, Chris and Tammy, they've done a lot for racing. They sponsor a lot of people, a lot of tracks, a lot of series, including the Fast Lane Superstock Series. And they do so much up there. They sell parts, they service a lot of tracks, custom powder coating, sandblasting, I mean, fabricating, you name it. They do it all up at Fast Lane Motorsports and Powder Coating. And if you need parts, you need service, you need anything done, give them a call. You'll be glad you did. Tell them the folks at the One to Go Show sent you. So I'm going to ask you guys this week, we're getting into the time of year. There's a ton of racing going to be happening in the not so distant future. Let's just do it this way. This particular weekend, give me one race. What one specific race stuck out to you? You're like, boy, that was either entertaining, but what one race specifically stuck out to you and why? So Changa, I'll start with you. What do you got? What race stuck out to you the most this weekend?
I think the most entertaining one I saw was Paragon. And that was won by Jameson. He drove by some good cars, drove by Huddy to win Huddy's grandpa's memorial race. But that was a little tiny bull ring that was kind of cowboy up, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
Let me ask you guys, have you ever heard before this weekend, right? And we picked it. That's how we kind of knew about it. Prior to that, have either one of you heard of Paragon Speedway in Paragon, Indiana?
I have not.
All of us have heard of a lot of racetracks, never heard of that one in my entire life. And I'm like, I got to check it out, right? I got to check it out. Holy shit, you're right, Changa. It was good. I mean, that was a little bull ring. Bert, did you watch that race?
I did not see that one.
It's worth jumping back on I think it was on Flow.
Is it on Flow? Okay.
Yeah, it's worth jumping back on to watch that feature. I mean, I don't say that a lot, but that race was highly entertaining. Easily the best race of the week. Had a cushion, throwing haymakers, and Marvin O'Neill Memorial, Hudson O'Neill's grandpa, of course. They had that was an inaugural memorial race for him. James Essex. So if you're a Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model fan, he's the voice of the Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Series. The Northern All-Stars Late Model Series, that's his series. So that was a race put on by James Essex. Very good race. But yeah, racing Jason Jameson throwing some absolute haymakers. Probably did not make friends with Ryan Gustin when he passed him. He carved him pretty good, but boy, I tell you what, it was worth the price of admission if you were there. It was definitely a good race to watch. And that just goes to show it's not just World of Outlaws or Lucas. There's a lot of stuff that we can watch out there. I never heard of Fairbury until a few years back watching streaming. So it's kind of a neat deal. So Paragon was really good. Bert, how about you? What race stuck out to you?
I would say Tazewell, where Turbo, the Fun Tour, found himself in Victory Lane. Tazewell is always a track that I heard about, throughout the years. But I mean, honestly, the racing isn't that good there just because it's banked so much. But Turbo was flying on the high side, and he was moving up, but then Overton moved up, but then drivers were getting flat tires, and eventually Turbo found himself in the lead. Well, I mean, it's not like it was given to him. I mean, he was charging to the front.
Yeah, he passed a few, but he did inherit some spots. And I mean,
yeah,
7 cars finished the race, right?
Yeah.
I think wasn't it 75 laps?
Yeah.
23-degree banking. 20. Now, for a lot of people, they're like, I don't know what that means, right? I don't know how much a typical track is banked. Well, I can tell you right now, that is the most highly banked dirt track that I've ever seen. I think Bulls Gap is right there. Me and Dan Filto went to Bulls Gap a couple of years back, And Tazewell, they say, is banked just a little bit more than Bulls Gap. And when you can't really, you can see it. I mean, you can notice it watching it on the stream, but when you get there and you're standing down on the bottom of the racetrack and you're looking at the track, you're like, holy shit. I mean, literally, you're standing on the bottom of the track. The top groove of the racetrack is way above your head. I mean, it's that banked. So at some of these tracks, and I don't know if they do it there, but I know Bulls Gap, the water truck just goes around the bottom of the racetrack, and they got these big bars that kind of just force water. They spray out onto the racetrack because there's no way that a water truck could drive around that racetrack without rolling over. Would not happen. So yeah, highly banked racetrack. Turbo, part of the fun tour. And I kind of thought he was going to get a right rear, but did not. So good on Turbo to get that one done. To me, I'm going to go local. Probably the race of the week locally. Wissota Midwest Mod Action opening night at the Ogilvie Raceway, Ogilvie, Minnesota. Joey Jensen and Vandy Camp had an absolute photo finish at the line. The last 3 laps or so of that Midwest Mod race were absolutely incredible. And let's face it, opening night, it was a little chilly in the 40s. Crowd was light. Track had some character in it, but they pushed through. The racing was actually pretty entertaining. I don't think too many people got stuff tore up. I think, which is surprising, right? You see opening nights. I mean, I remember back in the day, Cedar Lake opened up back when I was racing, and it was a rodeo racetrack, right? At the beginning of the year, and everybody's stuff was tore to shit. Everybody, after like one night. The racers were pretty smart overall. There wasn't a lot of tore up equipment at Ogilvie, but that was definitely a very, very good race between a national championship contender, Joey Jensen. But the thing that I think surprised me the most is I was surprised to see Vandy Camp at Ogilvie, right? He's a Cedar Lake car, so I'm thinking legendary opener, Cedar Lake Speedway. Jason Vandy Camp has to be the winningest Midwest Mod driver, B-Mod driver at Cedar Lake. I would think by a long shot. Changa, were you surprised to see Vandy Camp at Ogilvie opener rather than at Cedar Lake for the legendary opener for their special?
Well, now that you bring it up, I guess I hadn't even thought about it, but yeah, I guess so. That is kind of shocking. I never even put any thought into that.
So I don't know what his plans are. I did not get a chance to reach out to Vandy, but if we're gonna see him racing some Wissota stuff, right? If he's gonna race maybe Princeton on Friday or Menominee and Ogilvie on Saturday, maybe we'll see him at Granite on Sunday. If he decided to do that, would he be an automatic contender for a national championship, Jason Vandy Camp?
Well, absolutely. I mean, he's an elite runner that can run good at any track.
100%, and he's a good guy. I mean, Jason Vandy Camp's a very likable dude. I got to know him a little while back. Don't know him super well, but yeah, that would be a very good addition to Wissota Midwest Mod Racing. I'm gonna have to reach out to him this week to see what his plans are. So I guess we'll talk just a titch about the couple opening nights. Ogilvie, back-to-back wins. The one TPO, Tyler Peterson. TPO, I gotta say, kind of brave. So, Bert, did you get a chance to watch Ogilvie or Cedar Lake, either one? So you got a rookie on the bottom. God dang, who was that rookie up front? It was Jack Coranda. Yep. He actually ran pretty good. He actually was running pretty good. So gonna be interesting to see how he does. But you got Coranda on the bottom, and then I don't remember who was on the outside, and TPO just forced it up the middle, and the track was rough. The bottom's rough. You got a rookie, Bert, on the inside, kind of rodeoing on the bottom, and you got TPO literally like lap 5. I'm just gonna blaze right through the middle of these two. I'm like, it worked. He went on, drove off into the sunset, but I'm like, holy shit, guy. Like, I don't know if that's maybe not the smartest thing in the world, but maybe he was sitting back thinking, I got to get by these guys before something happens and just get out of harm's way. So tip of the cap, Tyler Peterson, he's back at her again.
That's why he was the #1 draft pick last week.
Pretty good reason. Modified race was good. Jody Belfi getting it done. Little bit of a gift. Now, I looked at the lap times. I say that he got a little bit of a gift, but he did have a faster lap than the driver I'm going to talk to. His fastest lap was faster, but Landon Atkinson got the lead, and I don't know what happened, if he hit a rut, hit a tire, whatever, rolled the nose piece under the left front tire skidding around the racetrack, dropped him back to 5th. I'm not going to say he was going to for sure win it, because Belfi's overall fastest lap was faster than his fastest lap, so he had a good car for sure, but it would have been a good race. If Atkinson doesn't roll that under, I don't know that it's necessarily an easy win for Belfi, but needless to say, Jody Belfi really, really good at Ogilvy and just continuing where he left off. Super Stocks, Bert, do you know who won the Super Stocks? Any guesses on who won the Super Stocks, Bert?
It wasn't Zabrowski.
It wasn't Zabrowski. That's surprising. Dennis Zek was really, really good. Actually, Zek's been quick. He's ran Midwest Mods, Supers, Mods. He's been fast and everything. He's a guy that doesn't really race a ton of shows, right? He races pretty limited schedule. He gave Zabrowski all he could handle. I was surprised. I figured, okay, Zabrowski's up front. He's eventually going to get by him, drive off into the sunset. That did not happen. So that was a good race. Midwest Mod, we talked about that. Street Stock, the youngster. We talked about the brothers. We've talked about Browers quite a bit, right? Them Rant boys are really good race car drivers from Western Wisconsin. Landon and Levi. Levi Rant going on to win the Street Stock race. Levi Rant, there's a sleeper, guys, right now. 2025 national championship contender, top 5 kind of guy for sure. Keep an eye on the Rants. They're very good. Anything else to go to you guys at Ogilvy? I guess, Bert, you didn't watch it, but Changa, anything else to go to Ogilvy? Pretty entertaining racing overall. Light crowd because of the weather. It was super cold, but it was good racing.
Yeah, I want to go back to that Dennis Zek deal. I mean, he had a restart with 8-10 laps to go with Zabrowski there, and he drove away from him by a little bit. He probably ended up winning by, I don't know, half a dozen car lengths anyways. So, I mean, he had a good car. That was impressive run.
I would like to see him race more, but he's pretty focused on work. He's got a family and stuff, so he doesn't race a ton. But I tell you what, when he does race, he's got a pretty darn good hot rod. Cedar Lake Speedway, back-to-back wins. Nitro Nation, James G.O.A.T, a pair of wins in the 11 car. Obviously, G.O.A.T's been, for the last handful of years or so, has been one of the top guys at Cedar Lake Speedway. No surprise there. The surprise to me, though, Bert, did you watch Cedar Lake?
No.
Bert, you're killing me. Bert, you're killing me. So, 4th place finisher, Layla Eisenschenk. So that's, of course, the Eisenschenk girls. That's Donnie Schatz's nieces, okay? So Layla got 4th in that deal. Now, hey, Pat Dorr, I think, got 5th or 6th. Jesse Glenn's 5th or 6th. She beat very good race cars. It wasn't locked down, rubbered up. They were kind of moving around. I tell you what, them Amelia and Layla Eisenschenk, pretty sporty. They're getting a little bit older. 4th place finish at Cedar Lake, Bert, at the legendary opener. Could we expect to see them two gals contending for some wins in the 2025 season?
How many years have they been racing?
Well, I think they ran some sprint car stuff. They've been racing for a few years. I'm not exactly sure how many. Late models, I believe, maybe their 3rd year, maybe in the late model. But I know they ran some variations of sprint car stuff before that. Maybe go-karts. I guess I'm not positive, but they both have the car control, they know where to be on the racetrack. And obviously, when your uncle is one of the best to ever strap into a race car, and Donnie Schatz probably got some pretty good mentorship there, right? So, and I'm not going to say equipment, because all the top drivers and late models got good equipment. So their equipment ain't really any better than anybody else. It's good stuff, but it ain't any better. But very good run. Top 5 finish, getting a 4th. Very good run there. Mods, Caden Blazer out-dueling Dustin Sorensen. The MB house car driving by former MB house car driver, to get it done in the mods. That had to put a little smile on the MB Nation face down there, I'm guessing. Caden Blazer, we've talked about him quite a bit over the last couple of years. One of the most talented up-and-comers, going to be absolutely a force this year. Super Stocks, Kyle Kopp getting it done. Always good to see the 26 in Victory Lane. And Brandon Jensen in the Midwest Mods. Street Stocks, Travis Lowe. Bert, we got to give out our first Donkey Award of the year. Got to do it. Got to do it. I texted the guy. I said, you realize you're getting a Donkey Award. You know you're getting a Donkey Award for this. He's like, I know. Pure Stock feature. Pure Stock feature. Eventual winner, Robert Wallstrom, getting it done. But Eric Crosby, your Wissota Pure Stock National Rookie of the Year from last year. And his focus this year is to go out and win a national championship. Now, Cedar Lake, of course, not Wissota. No harm, no fall points-wise. Eric Crosby wins the legendary opener in the Pure Stocks, goes to Victory Lane, gets the big check and the interview in Victory Lane and waves to the crowd and picture taken and drives off the racetrack, and instead of taking a left to go to the scales, drives right on by, goes back to his trailer. It happens every year to somebody. I don't understand it for the Changa. How hard would you have punched me in the head if I would have won a feature and you took time off, drove down, helped me, I win a feature, and then I'm down there and we're all jacked up and I don't go to the scales. First of all, that shit never would have happened, but how pissed off would you have been at me?
Well, I'd have been pretty freaking disgusted for sure. And, makes me wonder if coming off a one there, they should have a sign that says, don't forget to scale, right?
Well, okay. Stop it.
Or have an official standing there pointing towards the scale.
Stop it. Yeah, so we literally give people shit about, we got warning labels on everything because people are too stupid nowadays. You have to go to the scale, okay? They already know that. They don't need anybody going, all right, now don't forget to go to the scale. He's won features before.
The only reason I say that is because I didn't realize they go to Victory Lane first and then they go to the scales. So, I mean, I can see where, you're caught up in the moment and you just drive by it. That's why, if you have an official there pointing.
He said,
to remind them.
He said, I won't do that again. I said, I sure the fuck hope not. Yeah, don't do that again. And he's like, yeah, I said it wasn't a point show. No harm, no fall. You got a fast hot rod. Now go get that shit done. So, Eric Crosby, congratulations, first Donkey Award of the year. Congrats on the win and the not so much win, but man, that's a bummer. Racers, seriously, this is not complicated. Just don't do that, okay? Now, the last thing I have from Cedar Lake, couple drivers in Cedar Lake jumping horns up, right? Chad Mater doesn't have his out yet. He's driving the Jerry Brumman car right now, but word on the street, Chad Mater making the switch from MB to Longhorn. And Bert, the old X Factor, Jesse Glenz horns up in a Longhorn. Overall fast time. He had fast time. So he has fast hot rod, fast car, had some heating issues, slid back a little bit, didn't quite have it where he wanted. Please, Lord, baby Jesus, 8-pound, 3-ounce baby Jesus in a racing uniform and a racing helmet, baby Jesus with the long flowing hockey hair. Please let Jesse Glenz be relevant this year, please. Right? Because Jesse Glenz about 3 years ago was super entertaining to watch. And it was good for racing, having another really good hot rod in the late models. And he struggled. Let's just face it. The last couple of years after he got out of the MB and that whole deal, he just has not really been himself. I want very badly to see Jesse Glenz be really good in that Longhorn and just be a contender each and every night. That would be super fun. You guys' thoughts on those two making, of course, he was in a SSR making the switch to a Longhorn, and then Chad Mater's been in an MB for a very long time and making the switch now to Longhorn. Your guys' thoughts. Their program's going to elevate, stay the same, get worse? What do you think? What should we expect? And out of those two drivers, who would you expect to win more races? Chad Mader, Jesse Glenz, and their Longhorns?
Well, I don't think it can hurt. I mean, Glenz has been kind of non-existent the last couple of years. I believe it's a Longhorn by Sorensen, right?
I think so. I'm not positive on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
All right, in both cases. I mean, I feel like Chad Mader's been the same guy, consistent top 5 runner, no matter what car he's in forever, as long as I can remember, probably going back over a decade, you know. But Glenz is obviously, you know, one of them guys that needs to quit being a 10th place car and be the guy that's up there in the mix. And I think it can't hurt, right?
That doesn't answer my question. Which one's going to win more races?
Oh, God, I don't know. Mader's going to win more races because he's going to race more.
Bert?
I'm going to say Glenz is going to win more races because I think Mader might travel a little bit more to some bigger shows. He seemed to travel last year a little bit. So if Glenz stays gets more races in the home area, I'll go with Glenz.
I'm going to go with Glenz. Both of them very good race car drivers. They both won a lot of races. They drive differently, right? Mader's kind of more that momentumed up, and Glenz is when he's on his game, he's throwing haymakers. He's super entertaining to watch. He kind of had that little Bobby Pierce to him, you know, back a few years. So I'm gonna go with Jesse Glenz. Just the homer in me. I'm a Jesse Glenz fan, so I'm gonna go with that. All right, guys, let's jump into late model events. But a little shout out here, Brad Parsons Soil and Egg Solutions. So if you're in, it's planting season's here. It's amongst us, right? So you're looking to make more money. What do? You got to have the right products in those spray packages. Well, why not get a hold of somebody passionate about racing? This is a racing podcast. If you're listening to it, you like racing, why not call somebody involved with racing to see what they have to offer? That's Brad Parson, and his number, 320-219-3542, and he can get you the information you need to get the right stuff in your spray packages to get higher yields and put more money in your pocket at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. So just a couple tidbits here, and I'll name a couple races. You just name anything that maybe stuck out to you from that event. And in this order, we'll go Changa, Bert, and then if there's anything left to clean up, I'll kind of go clean up on this deal. 3 Mars races this past weekend. They raced at Cedar County, Tipton, Iowa, Thursday. Then they had a double header, the Slocum, that was at 34 Raceway, West Burlington. So 3 Mars late model races this weekend. Changa, what stuck out?
Well, obviously, Cedar County, Sheppy winning back-to-back, and that was big news, making you think maybe the rocket cars he's figuring them out and coming back. Pierce kind of chased him down at the end, but ran out of laps. The first night at 34, Pierce starts on the front row, and but Dennis Erb was kind of there, and he's another guy that switched chassis now. He's out of the Capital and back in a Rocket. And he looked good with a couple of podiums back-to-back at 34. The second night, track wasn't very good. At the end, Pierce was just following lappers. And what was it? Ferguson was in second, right? And it allowed him to catch up. And Ferguson kind of rolled the middle and moved Bobby right off the tires. And Bobby almost pissed the race away and had to make a Superman move on the top on the last corner to save his bacon. But Carson Ferguson with a good weekend, 2 fourths and a second. So that was pretty interesting.
He needed that, right? Carson Ferguson really, he showed signs of talent. He got second in the mod too. He showed signs of talent, but he's really just been not good in the last couple of years. I mean, I picked him at the World Finals. He was one in our draft, and he didn't make the feature any of the 3 nights, right? I mean, like, he just hasn't ran good. So Carson Ferguson with a super strong weekend, finishing in the top 4 all 3 nights. I mean, he really, really needed that. And it's kind of funny because Pierce said it kind of snookered me because, Ferguson got inside of him there. Lap traffic was kind of plugging it up, right? And Bobby's running the bottom, not really getting any pressure on the outside. And lo and behold, one time Ferguson just forced it up in there on the outside, and he got that really good run getting in, lost it coming off, but that good run of getting in. And Pierce must have kind of saw him. Maybe he got pointed up. I'm not sure. And when he did that, Ferguson went right underneath him and just about stole it from him at the end. It was for a race that was really not very good. It was a really exciting finish because of that. So, and Pierce gave him props. He's like, kind of snookered me on that. He moved me off my line, and he realized that he just about gave that one away. Bert, anything stick out to you from the Mars races other than what Changa touched on there?
I mean, you guys pretty much covered the major points. Yeah, that last night, the racing wasn't very good because it was basically fight for the bottom. But I don't, if you guys listen to the announcer for that race, he was making it sound like it was the best race ever on that final lap. So I mean, it was exciting on the final lap, but if Bobby doesn't get out of line, it's not a race. I mean, I guess Ferguson could have tried the high. If Bobby wouldn't have moved up, he would have continued to try on the outside. Maybe he would have got him, but for the most part, it was fight for the bottom. But I know this was brought up in our chats when the races were going on. But one of the things was the driver who was at the first one, not at the second one, but then came back for the third one. Ryan Gustin.
So the Reaper evidently has a fuel card. So what Bert's talking about is, so Gustin lives in Iowa, right? Marshalltown, I think. So he was at the first night, Tipton, Iowa, at Cedar County. He was there night number 1 on Thursday. That was on Thursday. On Friday, he's not at West Burlington, 70 miles away. He's not there. Looking at my race pass, he's at Paragon, Indiana, 370 miles away. Same pay. A little bit more pay for that night, but same pay the next night. And I'm like, holy shit. Now, the only thing I can figure is there must have been a tie with the O'Neill family. Maybe he went there for the memorial race. Something that's the only thing that makes sense. I didn't confirm that. I'm kind of assuming that's the case. But then, I think he got top 5, and then he turned around. He drove all the way back 300 miles back to 34 Raceway and didn't even make the feature the next night. So it's like, that's a lot of driving for not a whole lot of results. That had to been, that makes for a very stressful Monday or Sunday or Monday when you're looking at it going, I'm going to drive all over the countryside just to not make the feature. That was, I don't know. I guess the only thing I can assume there is somebody must have had a tie there with the O'Neill family, and he must have been going there out of respect, probably. I don't know that for sure. What stuck out to me is Sheppy, right? I mean, kind of got our hopes up. At Farmer City, he was electric. Night number 1 at Cedar County of the 3-night swing, he was really good. It's like, oh boy, he's back. And then he literally was lap traffic after that. Like, he got lapped. Was it the first or second night at 34? He got lapped. And he was like on the verge of getting lapped the other night. He went from like super good to not relevant. Now, the difference is the track surface at 34 Raceway is totally different surface. Maybe is Sheppy really, does he come to life on the black dirt tracks and maybe not quite as good on the other materials? I don't know. I mean, I don't understand how a guy can be so Jekyll and Hyde. Pierce has a bad night. He's like, oh man, he was terrible. He got second. Like, I don't know, it sucks. Like, he got third. Like, what is he doing, right? Sheppy goes out, he has a bad night, he's 17th. It's like, I don't understand that, right? So, and that's the difference between like what today's top tier. Brandon Sheppard's a top tier racer, we know that, but if you're looking at like 2025, right? You look at Pierce, RTJ, Devin Moran, right? They are always in the top 5 unless something stupid happens. They're always there. And Sheppy's like up front one night, 82nd the next night. It's like, I don't understand, right? I don't understand how, and I get it, racing's tough. I mean, we've done it, right? But man, that's a big variance. And let's face it, it's not like, I mean, there were some pretty good cars at 34, but it's not like it was a freaking Lucas Oil race. It's not like he was at the Dream or what, you know what I mean? It was mostly Mars cars, and he's like running behind all them. I don't understand. Was that baffling to you guys too? Like how bad he was after how good he was? Like something ain't right there.
I thought he'd be better than that anyways. You were thinking, okay, Sheppy's going to have, 3 top 5s anyways. And, his, one thing with Sheppy is his inability to qualify well all the time. I mean, you get him on them little bull rings with black dirt, he qualifies well, and he's starts up front in heat races and finishes up front. But, his inability to qualify well when you get on other track surfaces seems to be kind of an issue, really.
Yeah, it didn't make much sense to me. So Spring Nationals, Bert, you talked about Tazewell already. I-75. We got the Manitoba Missile. Ricky Weiss with another win. Now, did either one of you watch I-75?
No.
I did.
Bert? So did you notice Hedgecock was making some headway, and it looked like he was going to maybe roll right on by Weiss on the high side. Weiss was running the bottom, and he literally, there's no way he saw him. Had to be signals, right? He literally turned hard right, like did a 3-lane change to go to the top. No contact, but it shook the hell out of Hedgecock, and he went flying off the racetrack and lost like 5 spots on that deal. If that don't happen, Hedgecock wins that race, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, as I was watching that, when he went to the high side, I was thinking the same thing. Somebody had to have signaled him to go to the high side because, yeah, Hedgecock was going to get him.
But I'll be honest with you, he's a Wissota guy, right? So I would rather see Ricky Weiss win than Corey Hedgecock anyway. I know I've never met, don't know Corey Hedgecock. Good racer, builds his own cars. I think he does his own engines too. But the fact is, we'd rather see Ricky Weiss win anyway. But he's kind of putting together a pretty good start to 2025. What is that? 3 wins for Ricky. And, I know one of them was like 20 grand, and that one I think was 10 or something like that. So quietly getting off to a pretty good start here. Could Ricky Weiss win the Hunt the Front championship in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, if he follows the tour, I think he can win it.
And this wasn't a Hunt the Front race. This was Spring Nationals, but he's in contention for the lead. He's committed. He said he committed. I mean, that could change.
Okay.
But they put the press release out that he's going to follow the Hunt the Front tour. That, I mean, I think he could get it done. It'd be cool to see. Good to see a Wissota guy getting a regional championship down there. Changa, any thoughts on the Spring Nationals?
Well, watch it. I guess first of all, with Ricky Weiss, I mean, he's a guy that's, I think, going back several years when he was running full-time World Outlaws, he was like a 5th place type of guy, couple years there. So I mean, obviously he can put together a strong season, in a long touring series. So I don't see, I could see him being in contention. Do I think he's going to win? No, but I think I could see him being in contention.
You got a horse shit attitude. Get your act right. What do you mean you don't think he's going to? We're homers on the show. He's a Wissota guy down south. Yeah, he's going to win. I don't even know why there's a question in this deal. He's going to win.
That was your question.
Changa, say it with me. Ricky Weiss going to win.
He's probably going to win another race this year.
Wait.
My thoughts on I-75. I watched a condensed version of the race. Might have been the most boring thing I've ever seen in my entire life because I don't know what the camera angle was. It looked like the track was about a mile long and there wasn't a car within like 10 car lengths of another car on the condensed version. I probably didn't even see the Hedgecock-Weiss battle. They probably fast forwarded past that because I was so freaking bored watching it. I was like figuring it was a waste of my time.
Bert, I got to be honest with you. I massively disagree with Changa's assessment here. Like, I watched the race, and I thought it was a better race than Tazewell. I mean, Brandon Overton, first of all, needs to put Fix-A-Flat in his tires or something, because I mean, at both of them, I mean, he probably would have won at I-75 with his right rear tire went down. He went off the track early, fell back to like 13th, and drove his way back up to second, third, and then essentially getting in a second. Right rear tire goes down, and then I think he was running second at Tazewell and got a flat too. So a couple
the whole race at Tazewell.
Huh?
I think he led the whole race till he got a flat at Tazewell. That's
yeah, he got a. Was he leading when he got a flat?
Yeah, he was. I believe he was leading.
Yeah. So 2 nights in a row, just terrible luck. He had a really good car, but I thought it was good. I mean, that battle with Hedgecock and Weiss was good for a few laps. Hedgecock was making that second lane outwork, and I mean, so I don't know. The condensed version sometimes doesn't show you the whole story to the race. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it showed me.
So sprint cars here at Knoxville, World of Outlaws down there, 63 cars in attendance. Absolutely the high limit show. 4 of the top 5 high limit cars, and we had Rico, Larson, Schuhart, and then we had Tyler Courtney and Aaron Reitzel. That was your top 5. Rico off to a slow start in 2025. Of course, he had rehab after getting surgery on his wrists, and but he was really good there. Larson made a absolutely storm to the front late in that race to almost steal it at the line. Was that a statement win? Was that a statement race for the high limit cars, just kind of flexing and saying, when the Knoxville Nationals come later this year, you World of Outlaw guys might as well just stay home?
No, not at all. You go to Knoxville, it's Kyle Larson versus the world at the Nationals. If he's there, he's the guy to beat, and everybody else is just hoping they can find some speed.
Well, if in the top 10, the lion's share of them drivers were high limit. I think there was only 3 World of Outlaw cars in the top 10. Bert, is the high limit series just flat out better talent than the World of Outlaw series by numbers?
They have. I mean, if you consider Kyle Larson part of high limit, they definitely
he owns it. He's half owner of the high limit, so I'm gonna say that, yeah. And he runs all the weekly stuff, right? He'll run pretty much all that.
They definitely have higher star power at the very, very top than what the World of Outlaws. I mean, one problem with the Outlaws this year is it seems like gravel wins every race. And it seems like there's a little bit more parity, even though Brad Sweet is always on top of the standings. There seems to be more parity in victory lane, though.
Yeah, I think that the separation, I think gravel is clearly better, and Larson is too. Let's just be honest. Larson is probably clearly better if he ran every race. But you got Rico, Reitzel, Tyler Courtney. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sucks that they're split. I just like late models. I love shows like this when you get them all together. That puts on the best show. And fortunately, we got to see that this weekend. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when the money races come, right? And we're talking the big one they have at Huset's, the Knoxville Nationals, the Kings Royal, all these races. Would you expect to see more high limit guys finishing in the top 10, or more World of Outlaw guys finishing in the top 10 at all these big money shows?
World of Outlaws, for sure. They're just better.
I would probably say World of Outlaws too. Like I said, I think high limit at the very, very top, they have the star power. But I think World of Outlaws has a little bit stronger talent throughout the top 10.
All right, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, but I'll save that for just a little bit later in the show. All right, let's move on. 2025.
I got one more thought on Knoxville.
Yeah, what do you got?
So Thursday night they had a practice there, right? There was like 3 cars, 3 of your main guys that didn't practice. Donnie Schatz is one of them, right? Then he goes out and has this god awful weekend, has to take a provisional to get in the show.
Well, he rolled over, didn't he? Didn't he in the heat? I think he
that,
got.
But
Was
so
that the heat? Was that the heat that he
I
rolled?
don't even know. I didn't even watch it. I just going off the results. But I know
Might have been the feature.
He didn't practice Thursday, right? He goes there Saturday, early in the night, qualifying. He's on his Fox shocks like he has been. In the feature, took him off and went back to his old stuff from last year.
I don't know why they wouldn't have tested on Thursday. So they ran no practice laps on Thursday. That's interesting. I did not know that. So they didn't. Either did who?
Gravel didn't practice either.
Huh. That is super interesting. I would be interested to find out why that is. Gravel's been so dang good lately. I can see why he hasn't. Schatz has not. Right.
Yeah.
Last week was the best week he's had all year. He's just not been good. So the fact that he didn't practice, I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, I don't think it's a budget issue. Tony Stewart's got plenty of money, right? It's not money. So yeah, I guess that's interesting. That's a good catch there. I did not know that Donnie Schatz did not practice on Thursday, and if he would have, Saturday might have looked a whole lot different. I mean, that's just the way it is. So, yeah, I mean, when you have an opportunity to sharpen your pencil, I would recommend doing it. I mean, there's no substitute for seat time and lap time, and if you have the budget to do it, testing definitely pays off. Bert, your thoughts? Would you agree to that?
I would agree with that. Anytime you can get laps on the track, it's a good thing, especially if you're struggling.
2025 Pick'ems, of course, brought to you by Brad Parson. Don't have the standings here, but they didn't change too much. I will say this: the top kind of stayed the same. We got Coach, we got Changa, we got the 71A. That's the top 3 right now. Pretty good battle there throughout the rest of the field. We'll have an updated list. I think I'm going to start post. I said this last year, but now that I have internet in my truck, finally, I think I'll start posting on the Facebook page our actual picks and our actual standings. So that way people can I know there's some people that kind of message about it once in a while. That'll give them an opportunity to keep track. I do got to give a donkey award to every single one of us in our Pick'ems group, though. Well, Bert, we did something for a first time in our 4 years of doing Pick'ems. We picked a memorial race over at Peoria, for the modifieds, and all of us picked a driver to win, and none of us even had a driver that was even at the racetrack. None of us. I think it was Gary Cook Jr., I think is what it was, Memorial. None of us even picked a driver who was there. So nobody got the points for that. That's never happened. We've never done that before. Usually we're pretty good at this deal, at least have an idea who's going to be there. Nope. So donkey award to all of us on that one. This week, though, we got here's what we're going to pick. We're not going to go through all of our picks right now, but the Alabama Gang 100 World of Outlaw Late Models double header at Talladega. 3 nights of Lucas late model action. And then right down the third one. One of them's at Hagerstown, one at Port Royal. Where's the other one? Oh, Delaware, Georgetown, Delaware. That's where that one is. So Georgetown, Hagerstown, Port Royal this weekend. Mars Late Model Series and Modified Brownstown Bullring. That's in Illinois, not to be mistaken for Brownstown, Indiana. 2 completely different racetracks. And then Peoria, so doubleheader for Mars. World of Outlaw Sprint Cars, Friday, Jacksonville, Illinois. Saturday at Hopstadt, Tri-State Speedway, Hopstadt, Indiana. USAC National Midget Series getting their season underway with a doubleheader at Kokomo. And then Bert up in eastern Wisconsin at the Beaver Dam Raceway, Dirt Kings late model is going to get underway. What, between that and local racing and everything in between, what race or event or whatever are you guys looking forward to most this weekend? Bert, I'll let you go first on this one. What are you looking forward to most this weekend?
Well, obviously, I'm looking forward to the Dirt Kings race because finally, Eastern Wisconsin late model drivers get their chance to get on the track. Shawano Speedway is supposed to open this weekend, so that's always special. Although I'm skeptical that it's going to happen because it's forecasted to rain all day Friday, and we've had a lot of rain this spring, so I think one day of a lot of rain is going to put the kibosh to it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, hopefully not. So yeah, any surprises? Have you heard any additions to the Dirt Kings of, from last year? I would expect to see, Ann Valink, Mike Mullen, Springborn, Scheffler. Is there anybody that, maybe is added to that list that we haven't heard about?
I haven't heard of any drivers being added to the list. I mean, it will be interesting this weekend if Shawano Speedway does open because Dirt King's racing the same night. I mean, Shawano will have like 5 late models racing. So, that's the unfortunate thing when Dirt King's races on a Saturday night. But I haven't heard anything about Dirt King's. There is going to be a new late model driver at Shawano Speedway this year, Tommy Rint. He's been racing a IMCA Sport Mod, so he's going to do double duty this year, racing a Sport Mod and a late model. I interviewed him a couple weeks ago. I went to his shop and I wrote a story for one of the local papers. It's an advertising type paper, but they have some editorial in there. So in the preview for the Shawano Speedway season, I did a story about him racing late models this year.
Always fun to see new blood and moving up into classes. So good luck to him this year. We'll see how that goes. We'll keep us posted on how his season is. Changa, what are you looking forward to this weekend?
I'm looking forward to the Lucas Oil 3-race swing this weekend. We've had it feels like a long time now since Lucas has had a points race. So I'll be interested to see if, Huddy and Shep and their newfound speed and their wins, if that'll translate when they get back to the Lucas Oil swing, if they've got anything to get up front, if they've closed the gap on, the Morans and the Davenports and the RTJs.
Yeah, them. I got to be honest. That's probably the one I'm looking forward to least. Them are all monster, big racetracks. So, but what's interesting out there is some of the locals run good, right? Could we see maybe a Rick Eckert, a Greg Satterley? Could we see one of them guys maybe steal one? We've seen Satterley and Eckert. Well, Eckert, of course, was a national touring guy, but we've seen Satterley steal wins from the National Touring Series. Could he do it again? I think he just won this weekend, didn't he?
He may have, but I saw Satterley steal a national win in person because he won a World of Outlaws show at Shawano Speedway several years ago.
Half-mile track. He shines on them big tracks, that's for sure. I'm looking forward to the local racing. There's a bunch of WISSOTA stuff scheduled to open up this weekend. I mean, literally 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday racing this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually planning to go racing Friday in Illinois. They're going to try to reschedule the stock car race that Dave's going to race in down at Kankakee. If they don't get it in, looks like he wants to go somewhere. So I'm going to try to get somewhere with him this weekend. So it's fun to get out there with them guys and get some laps. But I'm looking forward probably more to the local stuff, specifically. Of course, we sponsor. We're 40D fans now, and always were. We're Adams fans, but gonna keep an eye on Blake Adams at Menominee, Rice Lake, Granite City. So looking forward to that probably more than anything. So 2 more segments left. We got our bold predictions, and then we're gonna do the 24 car starting lineup for our super stocks. But let's do the bold predictions first. So we had a few come off the board. Every single week we basically make 3 bold, sometimes not so bold predictions, racing or show related. Keep track of a couple things. We keep track of correct predictions, correct percentage. And right now, leading the way in that, right, is Changa. You're leading both categories. You have 4 correct. Uper has 3. I have 1. Bert not on the board yet. Changa has 44.4%. 37.5% for Uper, 25% for me. Now I have 7 that are still pending, that are kind of pushed out there. Bert, you have 3 pushed out there. Uper has 4, and Changa, you only have 3. So you got most of your stuff off the board already. And this past week, so Bert, you had a couple come off the board. The first one you said Mars late model races. You went super bold on this. You said there would be 9 different podium finishing drivers. Or no, you said all. My bad. No, you said all 9 podiums would be Illini drivers. Yeah. Well, Brandon Shepard.
I think you got 7.
Yep. You got 7 and 9. Sheppy was. Pierce got 3 of them. Dennis Erb Jr. got 2. Shirley got 1. But you had Tanner English was on the podium, and Carson Ferguson with a runner-up finish. So you did not get that correct. And then you said Dale McDowell would win at least one of 2. Pretty good bet. I-75 and Tazewell. It's kind of his home turf, and luck was not there for the old Mac Daddy, so he did not get that one done. Uper had 3 come off the board. First one he got wrong. Changa, he actually initially he sent me this over that he got all 3 right. I'm like, dude, you're cheating again. Like, what is wrong with you, right? The first one that he said he got right, but he got wrong, is Shane Zabrowski, Bobby Pierce, Jason Fager, Hudson O'Neill, and Turbo Tyler Erb. At least 3 of those drivers would get at least 1 win. And so Turbo got a win. Pierce got a couple wins, right? Fager did not. Huddy almost did not. And he's like, well, Zabrowski got a win. No, he didn't. Like, I mean, yeah, he raced 3 cars at Ogilvy, and odds are he probably would have won those, but because you picked him, you jinxed him, and he did not get that, so you got that one wrong. Then he said, and he gave me shit about my little antics that I did to Bert there to get myself on the board. But he said, well, there's going to be at least 48 sprint cars at Knoxville.
That was a bunt.
It's like, are you shitting me? Okay, we'll give him credit, right? Because
but pre-registered at the time, and that was
probably 60 some pre-registered. Yeah, but yeah, he got that one right. And then he said the World of Outlaw Sprint Car A main would, both of them, but they only got one in, would be won by a non-World of Outlaw regular. Of course, that was Rico that got that one done. So he got that one right. Changa, you had 3 come off the board as well. You said, first of all, it would be a all Mike sweep for the modifieds at Peoria. None of the drivers that we thought about were even there. There was a couple Mikes, but not the ones we were thinking. So you got that one wrong. And then you said there would be 6 different podium finishers at the Spring Nationals races. Night 1, you had Ricky Weiss, Hedgecock, Dale McDowell. Night number 2, Turbo, Jimmy Owens, and Brandon Overton. Ding, ding, ding. You got that one right. And then you said it would be an Illini sweep of feature wins in Mars action. And of course, that was Sheppy, Pierce, which incidentally, he, on the initial one that he sent me over, had that mark that you got that one wrong.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So not only is he trying to steal points, he's trying to screw you out of points. That's our statistician, right? We wonder why he won it last year. Now we're figuring it out. I had 2 come off the board. First one I got wrong. I said Brandon Shepard would get a pair of podiums this weekend, and Pierce would get at least 1 win. It was looking good after night number 1. Sheppy with a win. I'm like, well, he needs 1 more podium and we're good. Well, he couldn't even sniff the top 5. He forgot where the gas pedal was the next 2 nights. So I got that one wrong. And then I said, good old Bert Lehman would draft at least 2 Eastern Wisconsin late models in our little draft that we did. And hey, thanks, Bert. Good job on that one. Good job. You saved me with your last pick there of Taylor Scheffler. I appreciate the teamwork on that. Very, very good job. And I want to thank Bert Lehman for getting me on the board. I appreciate that. Good job. Well done. All right. So 3 laps around the track, gentlemen. And what is this week's prediction? So let's go ahead. We'll go Changa first. We'll go Bert second. Then I got Youpers, and then I got my own. All right. What do you guys got?
Go ahead, Bert.
Oh no,
he said you first.
I did. I did.
Well, I'm gonna go with Hudson O'Neill's in the top 5 every one of the Lucas races this week.
All right, Huddy top 5. All of the Lucas races that happen, if one happens, it counts, right? Because you said all of the Lucas races.
How that happen?
Yep. So Huddy going to be top 5 every night. All right, Bert.
I will say Mike Mullen will have a podium finish in the Dirt Kings race.
Pretty good odds. A nice bunt. Nice bunt. All right, trying to get on the board. Hey,
well, I don't think it's a bunt.
Board. Yeah, trying to get on the board. That's a good one. All right, Youper's first prediction. He's gonna see if he can continue to jinx the Iron Man, Shane Sabraski. Shane Sabraski will win 33% or more of the A mains on the nights that he races this weekend. So I'm assuming he's probably going to race Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 33% or more win percentage for Shane Sabraski.
So if they got 10 classes and he only wins one of them, you said 33% of the races on the nights he races. What if he only brings one car and there's 10 classes?
No, 33% of the ones that he enters.
Oh, okay.
Of the ones that he enters. So if he brings, of the one he enters, 33. So if Shane Sabraski draws for position at 12 races this weekend, right? He's going to win 33% or more of them races. All right. I'm going to go to the high limit World of Outlaw conversation that we were just having. So a combination of these races, the High Banks Hustle, that the big paying one, the premier night, I guess it would be at Huset's, the Kings Royal, and the Knoxville Nationals. Let's go to the National Open. What is that? That big one, is that the National Open? We can add that one to the mix as well. That's at 70. I think it's 75 grand to win Williams Grove. I think it is the end of the year. So actually, let's just make it simple. Any sprint car race that happens that is 50,000 to win or higher this year, right? 50,000 win or higher, there will be more high limits drivers, Kyle Larson included in that because he's a high limit driver, even though he's not a tour regular. There'll be more high limit drivers with top 10 finishes than World of Outlaws. 50,000 to win or higher sprint car races, more top 10s for high limit racers than there is for World of Outlaw racers.
Well, that's a bunt, because if there's any high limits races that pay 50,000, there will be 0 World Outlaw guys even there.
No, I think they got rid of that. I think they're going to be there. So
I don't know. I don't know that they got rid of it.
Yep. So I tell you what, here's what I'll do. If there's a high limit race like that where the World of Outlaws don't enter that race, that race does not count. That race does not count. Okay. So they both, this is assuming that it's an event where they're both at. So an event where the bulk of them is at that race, more high limit drivers than World of Outlaw drivers with top 10. Is that fair? You good with that? All right. All right, Changa, your second lap around the track. What do you got?
I'm going to go to Mars late models, and I'm going to say Turbo Tyler doubles up this weekend.
Turbo Tyler Erb doubles up this weekend in Mars late model action. Okay, so that is Brownstown, Bullring, and Peoria. All right, the fun tour continues for Turbo. Bert, lap number 2.
I'll go Lucas Oil and say Greg Satterley will average a top 10 finish through the however many races they race this week, and if there's weather.
He will average a top 10 or higher. Top 10 or higher. Okay, fair enough. Uper's second one. Chonga's boyfriend, BP32 Bobby Pierce. 0 podiums this week. 0 podiums for Bobby Pierce. Of course, they got a double header down at the Talladega short track.
No, if it was supposed to be on a freaking hurricane down there or something, or
if they don't race, it don't count. If they don't race, it don't count. If they get at least one race, it counts. But if they don't race at all, it don't count. All right. All right. I am gonna go World of Outlaw sprint car racing. I'm gonna go Jacksonville and Hopstadt. And I'm gonna say this, that Buddy Kofoid has podiums both nights. Buddy Kofoid podium both nights. Jacksonville, Hopstadt, and World of Outlaws this week. All right, Chonga, what do you got? Third lap around the track.
I'm going to go to the World Outlaw late models, and I'm going to say non-World of Outlaw regulars will podium 50% or more of the, will take up 50% or more of the podium finishes.
World of Outlaw late models?
Yep, non-Woo regulars at them races will get half or more of the podiums.
Okay. Okay. All right. A little haterade on the World of Outlaw late model guys. Fair enough. All right. Bert?
I'm going to go Shawano Speedway will have less than 7 late models this week. That's all.
Less than 7 late models. So assuming they race,
Less than
right?
7 late models.
Yeah, I think Bert's getting a text message or a phone call there.
Assuming they race, yes.
Yeah. So if they race,
oh no, I'm not.
will have yeah. Shauna will have 7 or less late models. All right. So Uper's third and final prediction.
No, I said less than 7. Less than 7.
Less than 7. So 6 or less. All right, that's even bolder. Okay. So 6 or less at Shawano if they race. Okay. All right. All right. Uper's third and final prediction. RTJ is the only driver to podium at all the Lucas races this weekend. So there's 3 scheduled. Whatever races they get in, they get 1 in, 2 in, 3 in. RTJ, well, obviously, if they get 1 in, that ain't going to be correct because there'll be 3 drivers on the podium, right? So if they get 2 or 3 in, RTJ is the only driver to have podiums all the nights that they race. So
if there's one, is it a wash and we throw it out, or is it just wrong?
If there's 1,
if 2 of them rain out,
if 2 of them rain out, it just doesn't count. It's a non. Okay. It just this don't count. All right, my third and final prediction. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Mars Modifieds. I'm gonna go back to our. I'm gonna go back to the well here. I'm gonna go Michael Long and Mike McKinney. Podium both nights, and both of the features are won by one of those 2 drivers. So Mike McKinney, Michael Long, those will be the 2 winners. And both races have to happen for it to count. If one washes, it don't count. But they'll win. They'll win both of the races. Both of them will be on the podiums both nights.
All right. Incidentally, did you see? I saw something today online that Mike McKinney just got a full-time super late model ride.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not see that. That would be interesting. He'll still be there in a mod if he does. But
yeah, for sure. And he's going to run the Mars Tour in the Summer Nationals.
Is that for real? You saw that?
Yep, yeah, I saw that. I'll send you the link after the show. All
right. Well, that'll be cool. That's a Mike McKinney's fun to watch. So that'll be a good addition to the Mars Late Model Series for sure. Mike Harrison transitioned very well into a late model. I would expect him to do the same. Now, of course, Michael Ledford is also going to be running a late model. So the Mike action going on. Now it's Michael Longstern. We'll see if he transitions next. What's that?
Look out, everybody. More Illinois guys going to the late models.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the state of late model racing. All right, we're going to get into our final segment of the show here, folks. Daytona 1, though. Let's give them a little shout out. So Daytona 1 Performance Lubricants, #1 in the industry, right? In the lubricant industry, clear #1. Buck, the founder of the company, in the Hall of Fame for NASA, specifically for lubricants. They have so many great products. Check them out online. Check them out on Facebook. They have everything from tire treatments to tire cleaners to assembly lube, gear oil, power steering fluid. I mean, literally, you name it, they have it. Anything in the lubricant industry. And if you want to learn more about their great products, give Chad a call. He's the regional rep in Minnesota, 507-828-3536. He can get you all the information you need. And I know it's not legal. The tire treatment stuff, not legal. Great product, works well, allows people to run tires longer. There's people using all kinds of stuff in tires. And with the cost of tires today, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to try to make your tires run a little longer. But the fact is, if you get caught, it's on you. I'm not saying the stuff's legal, just run it. But if you're doing test nights, practice nights, if you're not Donnie shots and you want to get some laps in, right? Why not doctor up old tires instead of putting new tires on for practice? Why not doctor up old tires for test nights? That makes sense. That way you can actually have a viable test night. So there is a good viable legal use for it as well. But check that out online, Daytona 1 Performance Lubricants. So here's what we're going to do. We did this for the modifieds. We did this for the late models. We are now doing this for the WISSOTA Superstocks. Imagine in your mind, 24-car traveling series, 20 races throughout the WISSOTA region. Will include Cedar Lake as this. I know they're not a WISSOTA track. Different conversation for a different time. Now, if there was a 20 race deal, and let's assume this deal paid big money, so all the top dogs looked at the schedule and said, shit, gotta go. Gotta be there, right? Gotta be there. So imagine this being the Fastlane Superstock Series on steroids, right? 100 grand to win, 10 grand to win every feature, whatever. You kind of put your own number on it. But only 24 cars are invited. This is an invite-only series, okay? And we're going to base this off of last year, what's looking ahead to this year. The 24 cars, what 24 cars would we pick, right, to be in this series? What would give us the best show? What would be the most entertaining? Well, we can put that together right now. We're going to do a snake draft. Do you guys have any argument if you want to just go in the same order?
Last week.
What was the order last week? I don't even remember. Was it? All right. So Bert's first. Chonga's.
Oh, okay.
Is that you went first? You want to go different? You want to go third or what?
Well, I was just saying, why don't we go reverse of what we went last week?
So I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'll go first, then Chonga second, then Bert. And you know, hey, let us know which team would win. Who'd win the most races? Who'd win the championship? Low-lying fruit. All right. Bert, you did this shit to yourself. All right. You did this to yourself. Ryan is going to take the 7A. I'm taking Shane Sabraski. Okay. Chonga?
I'll take your defending national champion, Dexton Cook.
Take old Dexter. Yep. Okay. That was my #1 and #2 on the big board. Kind of makes the most sense. All right.
I'll take Kurt Myers.
Kurt Myers in the 1M/33/ who knows what number he is this year. Multi-time natty. And so Kurt Myers off the board. What do you got next?
Oh, I'm going to take Cole Chernosky.
Chernobyl off the board there. Cole Chernosky, you're defending WISSOTA modified national champion from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Obviously a good pick. All right, Chonga, your second pick here.
How about Trevor Nelson?
rough year last year for Trevor. I mean, a rough year for him is still a good year for most, but he's looking for a bounce back here. Sharp looking hot rod, as always, Trevor Nelson. All right, so now I'm on the turn. I'm on the turn here. I am going to take. Well, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to take one of the young guns in the sport here, and I'm going to take one of the dirt duelers off the board. I'm going to take Dylan Nelson in the 25. I'll take Dylan Nelson, and then I'm going to head on over to Wisconsin, and I'm going to take Taryn Spacek off the board. Dylan Nelson, Taryn Spacek. That's my first two, or my second two. All right, Changa, you're back on the board. Your third one.
Well, if we're doing a super stock invite, I think I'm going to do Dave Moss.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. He still runs supers. He still wins races. He doesn't run a super quite as much, but he does still have one, and you can expect to see him at the specials. And I would expect to see him. He'd be at this for sure. All right, Bert, what do you got?
Rick Simpson.
All right, okay. Good. You're Bert. Can you sing "Oh Canada"? All right.
And then Jordan Hinkemeyer.
Jordo, Jordo had a breakout season last year. That's the best year that he had. I'm a Jordo fan. Of course, I had the house car there for affordable 3 of our championship years, and Jordo was pretty young, but he hung around the shop a little bit. Good kid, talented race car driver. His dad was too, of course. All right, Changa, your fourth one.
I'm going to go with the guy, and he doesn't necessarily race a lot, but when he does, he's always in contention. I'm going to go Jesse Radetzky.
Good. Jesse's solid. That's a solid pick. Okay, that left me. I thought you were sniping me here. I thought you were sniping me. Another guy, this guy, multiple time national champion, runs a super, runs a series. I'm going to take old Sasquatch, Timmy Johnson.
Oh, Christ, I didn't even have him on my list either.
I'm taking Timmy off the board there. All right, now. Okay, now we're going to start. Now we start getting a little interesting. We're halfway through our deal here, and I'm looking, do I want to go west? Do I want to go east? I'm going to take a wild card here. I'm going to take a guy. I got to be honest, I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't done enough research. I don't know how much super stock racing he's going to do this year.
Don't snipe me, no.
I'm going to take Matthew Larson. I'm going to take Matthew Larson. I'm telling you what, that kid is a talented race car driver. Now he's getting his feet wet in a late model. He run the USRA late model. I don't know if he's going to run a super, but when he did, he was pretty sporty last year for the limited amount of racing that he did. So I'm going to take Larson. Last year's opening night winner, by the way, at Cedar Lake Speedway. All right. What do you got there, Changa, for your fifth pick?
Well, I'm going to go to another guy that don't race a whole lot of super stock races, but he's won a whole lot of races. I'm going to go with Joey Jensen.
I think he's going to run quite a bit of super stock stuff this year, to be honest with you. I think he's going to race quite a bit. That's a solid pick. All right, Bert.
All right, I'm going to go Dustin Nelson.
Yeah, Dustin's a solid pick. Super consistent. Track champion last year up the Grand Rapids Speedway. Double duty this year. Going to run a Midwest mod as well. Okay.
And then I'm going to take a veteran, Ron Mader.
Ron Mader's on my big board. Former national champion in the Wissota Superstock a long, long time ago in the early 90s. All righty, Changa, back to you for the, what would it be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16. Pick number 17.
I'm going to go to Canada and do David Simpson.
Did he run a super last year?
I know he ran it at that special up there. He had like 2 shows in Thunder Bay. He had like maybe even one. He had 113 points or something.
All right.
Always fast when he's in one.
I did not have him on my board.
If you don't like it, I'll do it. If it don't come, you can go somewhere.
Fine. That's fine. You can take Dave Simpson. That's fine. All right, I'm on the turn. I'm gonna go north and I'm gonna go west for my next 2 picks, because if we're doing the Wissota region, you got to make sure that people are good on their home turf. Okay. So my next pick, and I'm going to take a guy here that you come to Hibbing. This guy's going to be the guy to beat. He did win the Labor Day Shootout last year, and all the big guys came to town, right? I'm going to take I'm taking Tristan LaBarge. I'm going to take Tristan LaBarge with my next pick. And I'm going to go west. And boy, this one's tough because there's 3 guys that come to mind. When I go west, you go to Montana, and there's 3 guys that come to mind. And I'm going to take a wild card here, probably not on either one of your boards. And I'm buddies. My buddy is Bo Brown out there. Casey Stephenson is a double-digit win guy. But if the money's on the line, I just feel like this guy would be a really good pick. I'm taking Jeremy Meerhofer. I'm going to take Jeremy Meerhofer with my next pick. Chonga, was he on your big board?
Yeah, so was Bo Brown.
Okay. All right, so back to Chonga here.
Let me look through my names here. I think I'm going to go Kyle Kopp.
That was my next guy on the big board. Kyle's he obviously just won at the Cedar Lake Speedway. So Kyle Kopp in the show. Kyle Kopp in the show. All right. We have 2 more picks here for Bert. And then we're gonna make the turn.
Casey Stephenson.
Stephenson is a solid pick.
And then I'm gonna go with a youngster, Alex Myers.
Alex Myers. All right. Okay.
I'm just going to continue with my whole story of picking all locals. I think I'll go with my last one. I'll do DJ Keeler.
Oof, okay. DJ solid. He's literally right next. Okay, so that leaves me with the final pick here.
Is DJ the same as Dwayne?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're through. You're done. You're done picking there.
Yeah.
Bert, so.
Yeah.
So I have. I literally have 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 6 drivers still on my big board. I'm going to discuss them out loud, and then I'm going to make my pick.
Just write Kraus down.
I got to be honest, he just doesn't race enough anymore, so I don't have the 20. Sorry, Kraus, don't got you on there. I do have a guy that runs over in Alexandria and Ogilvie a little bit. I got Ryan Kostreba on the list. He got solid. He was pretty sporty at the 100 as well. Got a guy from down in Winona, Minnesota that run pretty limited. His kids are in sports, so he's racing a little less. And all of his Southern tracks quit racing supers. I got Dan Nisulke on the list. I got Bo Brown on the list out in Montana. I got last week's winner at Ogilvie, Dennis Zeck, on the list. I got Ashland racer, Steve Stewart, on the list. And then I have a guy from central Minnesota, Eric Martini, on the list. Oh boy. So this is tough.
That's all you got on your list? That's everyone?
That's my next 6. I got some other ones penciled in, but that's my next 6. I'm probably missing someone. You can tell me who I missed after. So I got Martini, Brown, Nisulke, Kostreba, Dennis Zeck, and Steve Stewart. Got a couple dirt duelers in there with Nasalki and Stewart. I don't know what Zek's got. I think he's got an affordable. I think Martini builds his own cars. He was anyway. Eric Martini, very talented. Kostreba, I think's in an affordable. I guess I'm not positive. Bo Brown's a TRC guy. Stubach is going to be pissed at me for not taking him, but I think I'm going to take Eric Martini. I think I'm going to take Martini just because he's so versatile. And I think that's the direction I'm going to go. I don't think there's a bet. So who else did you have? Who else did we snipe here? Who else did we snub?
Well, there's some guys that have got a little bit of equity, like your Darren Murados. You know,
Scott Lawrence.
Matt Darragon can be fast up
there. Yeah.
I had another guy, Doug Koski. He's been kind of
Dougie. Yeah.
I had Ryan Satter.
He's an up and comer. He won a lot of races in a streeter.
I did have Dennis Zek. And then I had your Krause's boy, Bailey Rosh, because I was going to
Bailey. Trevor Sauer's another guy, right? That probably could have maybe been on the list.
I had Bo Brown. I had Andy Labarge.
Okay. Bert, did you have anybody on the list that
Yeah, I mean, I did most of my list based off of the Wissota national points, but but Dalton Carlson
had a really good Labor Day weekend last year. He was in the top 5 all 3 nights over Labor Day weekend, which is a pretty good feat up there. Top 10 in Wissota points like several years in a row. Wins quite a bit over in Bemidji, runs good in Rapids, runs good in Hibbing.
Andrew Hedke.
Yep. Hedke is a guy that runs good, Montevideo Madison.
Stuart Shipke.
I had Stewart on the list too. I do have him on here actually. He's solid guy out in South Dakota.
And then previously mentioned Andy Labarge, Bailey Rosh. Then I also had Carter. Is it Rentz?
Carter Rentz. Yep. Carter Rentz.
And Mike Loomis.
Loomis is another guy that probably got snubbed a little bit. He's got a lot of track championships. He's really good at Cedar, Princeton. Probably a solid pick there as well. So here's what we got. Here's our teams. Here's our 24 car starting grid for to close out the show. Here's our starting lineup. Bert's team. Bert went family oriented here and Team Canada. So you have you bookended with Kurt Myers and Alex Myers. And if Alex maybe needs a win, Kurt might throw a block for him like he did in Menominee last year. So you got Kurt Myers, Alex Myers, you got Cole Chernosky and Rick Simpson, Jordan Hinkemeyer, Dustin Nelson, Ron Mader, Casey Stephenson. Changa, Dexton Cook, Trevor Nelson, Dave Moss, Jesse Radetzky, Joey Jensen, Dave Simpson, Kyle Kopp, DJ Keeler. And then my team, Shane Sobraski, Dylan Nelson, Taryn Spacek, Tim Johnson, Matthew Larson, Tristan Labarge, Jeremy Meerhofer, and Eric Martini. Got to be honest with you, be a hell of a race. That would be definitely entertaining racing to have those. I mean, I don't think there's a few snubs. There's always snubs, but I'd like to hear what people have in the comments. Throw us over some texts or some messages or some comments or whatever. Who did we leave out? Who would you take off the list? And who would you put on? Where did we mess up? Who had the best team? What do you think? So that's it, folks. Episode number, I don't even know what episode number we're on, to be honest with you. Episode number 256 in the books, and NFL draft this weekend. Bert, you gonna watch round 1 of the draft? I probably won't watch all 3 rounds, but you gonna watch round 1?
Yes, I'll watch round 1. I'll be sitting in my recliner or laying on my couch.
Yeah, hope you feel better. Hope you feel better for sure. My parents are a little under the weather. Got to see them today, so yeah. Yeah, 'tis the season. I know you got a little something different going on there. The Lyme's disease ain't no fun. So, yeah, Changa, we're still deciding if we're going to go down to the draft party or not. I'll talk to you. We'll chat about that after the show. But yeah, so this weekend, the NFL draft, we got playoffs. If you're a minute, I guess suppose Wisconsin's got a basketball team in there too. Playoff basketball, playoff hockey, and racing season is here. Watch whatever you can online, but if you can, get to the races because I mean, let's face it, we can all watch online all day long, every day. But the fact is, if the grandstands continue to be empty every single place, they're going to be racing to watch in person or online. So if you have an opportunity, get to the track, bring somebody with you, have a hell of a lot of fun, see something crazy go on, let us know. We'll talk about it on the show. Thanks for tuning in to the One to Go Show.